Hello everyone, my name is Ola Zaccheus, writing as Ola Zaccheus. I'm back again with the book reading session this week, and we'll be reading Fathers in the Bible Part 3, and we'll be talking about David. You see, I want to encourage you to get this book, Fathers in the Bible, because there's so many things going on in the society today. The fathers are the heads of the wives, the children, and if they don't have proper instruction, it's going to snowball and cause a crisis in the family. So I want to advise you to get this book or follow me in my book reading session, because I think these Fathers in the Bible, I'm going to extend it more than 3 parts like I do for the other books. So the father we're going to be talking about today is David. And this is not the beginning of David. I'm just going to pick a section of David's story. I'm literally going to get into the middle of David's story. So despite David's strength, excuse me, apologies. Despite David's strength, love for God, humility and courage, David had a few shortcomings as a father that later snowballed into a crisis for him and some of his children. The root of the problem was that David was a neglected child who nobody cared about or respected. David was so disrespected that when the prophet Samuel asked Jesse, David's dad, to produce his sons for the anointing, David was excluded. David was not reckoned to become anything in life. Even after David was anointed in the presence of his dad and brothers, Eliab, David's oldest brother, still disrespected him at the battlefield. This is in 1 Samuel 17:28. Granted, Eliab did not know what David was anointed for, but the fact that David was the one that was anointed out of 8 brothers surely should have signified his potential greatness. David took the challenges of his childhood and turned it to leniency when relating to his children. David's relationship with his son Adonijah was a pointer to how he related to all his children. When David became old and frail, Adonijah attempted to become king without his father's consent. This is how the scriptures gave the account. Then Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, "I will be king," and he prepared him chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. And his father had not displeased him at any time in saying, "Why hast thou done so?" 1 Kings 1, 5-6a, King James Version. Bearing in mind these scriptures, it is safe to assume that David never corrected any of his children. There is a common mistake many fathers are making in the upbringing of their children, and that is the desire to shield their offsprings from hardship at all costs. Some mothers do this as well. It is human to attempt to shield your children from the hardships you suffered as a father. The challenge is always to find the right balance between shielding the child from hardship and pampering the child, which is detrimental to the child. Some fathers or mothers are helicopter parents who constantly hover over their children to protect, shield, and insulate their children from life's harsh realities. This helicopter parenting may backfire if care is not taken. It has been said that some children of rich parents never become rich like their parents. This is because a lot of people became rich because the hardships and deprivations they faced propelled them to be creative and to seek a way out of their sufferings. Some people started a business and some sought to educate themselves just to escape the poverty. Once these people become rich, the bitter experiences of poverty now propels them to shield their children from ever experiencing such. These people forget that they actually became rich because they first suffered. Consequently, their children whom they shield from problems don't amount to much. So going back to the story of David, David was neglected as a child, but never pampered. If anything, he seemed to work harder than his brothers. He was the one tending the family livelihood. when the prophet Samuel came calling in 1 Samuel 16. However, what David did as an adult was to withhold correction from his children as well as pamper them. This turned out to be a two-edged sword that eventually stabbed David. Absalom, another son that was never corrected, dethroned David and spearheaded a rebellion against him in 2 Samuel 15, 10-14. Amnon, David's first child, had no sense of responsibility. As the firstborn, he had a duty of care towards all his siblings. Yet, he disregarded his duty and raped his younger sister Tamar in 2 Samuel 13-14. His brother Absalom later killed him for this. Father, do not neglect to correct your children so that you can have peace.